Got Frank here from 360 Composites.
Hello.
Hello. He
Hi.
brought us this carbon roof skin for the 370Z. This is something that he's been making for us for some time now, since probably 2013 or so.
I think I made the mold in 2010 or 2011.
Yeah, it was quite some time ago. We are going to set this one on here today. Show you that process, which is actually pretty simple. Right on it or right above it? Right on it.
What the fuck is that?
Oh man. After we sized up the panel just to make sure it didn't need any trimming, which it didn't, luckily, we ground the paint off underneath for a good mechanical bond for the adhesive we're going to use, and we're now just marking and clecoing it into place. Once we got all the clecos located, we could then just replace all the clecos with rivets, and the roof would then be sealed on. We're doing the final push here on Alex's 370Z. It's got the engine in here, and a lot of it is plumbed. It's got the livery on it, which is pretty cool. It's
Sweet, dude.
sweet, dude. Alex is actually here. Look at him.
Yeah.
He's here.
I'm live and in color.
Live and in color. He's been coming down on the weekends helping out. Right now he's bolting the seats into the car and getting his harnesses all set up for where he wants them. And I am going to make these intercooler pipes. Chris and the gang sent us these throttle body adapters, which convert it to these Bosch drive-by-wire throttles instead of the factory Nissan ones. But because he ran a different intake manifold, they didn't really fit very well. So I cut them, removed some material, changed some angles to kind of get them to shoot up and away from this heat source right here. And so I'm going to weld them up and then start making some upper intercooler pipes. See, I put a deep V groove in that. This pipe's like at least a 1/4 inch thick. Rightfully so, it has a throttle body hanging off of it, you know. So I wanted to get good penetration there. I'm welding this thing at like 200 amps and using an 1/8 inch filler rod. Once I got those throttle body adapters welded up and the throttle body's located, I immediately got to work on making these intercooler pipes. I actually used a little bit of the material left that Chris had sent us and just used brand new material for the rest to get the angles correct. These are those throttle body adapters that I had to cut up and weld. Fresh coat of black paint on them. Intercooler pipes that basically remade those air intake temperature bungs. There's one drying. DeWalt battery fan. Shane's milling down that throwout bearing to get the depth right, the distance from the bearing itself to the fingers of the clutch. We bought this bell housing used, and it's pretty well used. We had to repair some of the threads, but at least it was already drilled for the Tilton. So we put in some key certs and had to just double check the depth by basically measuring off of this surface down to the bearing. And we did the same thing on the block. We measured from the block surface here over out into these fingers, and then you just have to subtract the distance of what you need your air gap to be. So that's what we did, and he is removing the material that is necessary now so we have the proper air gap for the clutch. We just got all the wiring here from Hardstock Motorsports. Shane's already in here hooking up some power cables. Bob's getting ready to get this thing on the alignment rack. We've got rear harness, goes to the PDM. Running 2 PDMs, one in the back, one in the front. That's for the rear. This here is the engine harness. Hardstock Motorsports and us, a little VR38. Big Autosport. Miscellaneous connectors we have to terminate on the things. Our little assortment of battery cable boots. Our AIM display. GPS module. Keypad we get from Motec. And our throttle bodies. Now, we sent him all of this stuff, including the ECU and PDMs. That way he can configure it on the bench, which will make our life a lot easier, which is pretty cool. Meanwhile, we're just putting everything in the car. I'm working on drilling a hole here for the engine harness bulkhead connector. So we're just going to keep routing and plumbing and hopefully be starting this thing up later today. Got the Auto Sport connector in for the engine harness. And there's its mate. Just like that. Been working on this wiring all day, and we're getting pretty close to being able to test things. We're going to put some fuel in it and start doing some systems checks. Just seeing where we need to button things up. We have all our power cables made, grounds made, little connections here for the fuel pumps terminated. Everything important. We haven't done stuff like the cool suit yet because that's not critical. Water pumps terminated, power steering pumps terminated, fuel pumps terminated. And we go over here. While we were doing all of that, Bob was putting an alignment in it, so it's ready to drive, which is nice. Yeah, so most all the engine harness is terminated. On here, the only thing we have left to do is boost control, but we want to get it to run first. Then we'll worry about that. So, yeah, pretty exciting. All right, we got this thing in full test mode right now. We have everything ready, waiting on Brian Hartsock to call us. We might do that in the morning though, as it's getting kind of late here. But we got our dash rigged in there, keypad, everything is wired. We gotta tidy some of that up. But man, look at this engine harness turned out great. I mean, everything just flows together. We gave Brian at Hardstock Motorsports some measurements and some angles and stuff, and he made us a really good looking engine harness here. Everything reaches and is in good place. So yeah, pretty excited about this thing making its first startup and hopefully getting on the dyno tomorrow as well. First startup. Look, it runs! It runs! Really quiet. After a little bit of troubleshooting with the wiring, Carl was able to get this thing tuned up for us just in time to load it up to get to Orlando. That's all we've got for you for Alex Jagger's 370Z build. That car has since competed in 3 out of 4 rounds of Formula Drift Pro Spec, and he's actually like 5th or 6th in points right now, which is pretty awesome for the car's debut. So yeah, pretty proud of that, and proud of the way the car works, and extra proud of the way Alex has been wheeling it. So more builds are coming. Keep an eye on the YouTube channel here. Thanks for watching.